Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Motormouth and Wild Bill Winners. And Bill, I'll tell you what, took you away from your World Series watching so that we could do another edition of our incredible, crazy show. Glad to have you back, Wild Bill.
Nice to be back, Scott.
All right, well, let's talk about your new favorite sport, the NBA. I'm going to go over some different things here, and then we can proceed from there. Last night, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated Memphis by a score of 120-91. In that game, Anthony Davis had 40 points, 20 rebounds, and Davis becomes the first Laker player with a 40-20 in a game since Shaquille did it, O'Neal, that is, in 2003. Other contributors in that contest, LeBron James had 23 points, 8 assists. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who I think is one of their better defensive players, at 29 minutes, 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. But the real big number here is Anthony Davis. You told me that Anthony Davis better realize this is a long season, right, Bill?
Oh, yeah. Even though he put up 40 points and had 20 rebounds and played lights out, he's wearing down already. It's the beginning of the season. He has a bad shoulder. He's coming off having a bad thumb. This is a long season. So the Lakers are going to have to tweak that offense a little bit and start spreading the wealth around a little bit, or he's going to wear down. They got exposed when they played the Clippers. They bounced back with another win, and then they played Memphis. Memphis had no answer for him underneath the boards, but really good teams will take that away from him a little bit. But the reality of it is he's hurt already. And what I kind of thought was funny is that my sources out in Los Angeles were talking about how the Laker organization is kind of minimizing it right now. So he's fine. He's healthy. He's no worries. Yet he was almost questionable before the game.
Okay.
So, he did that with a bad shoulder. So they kind of let you know that they're going to have to load manage him.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it because he's most of their offense right now until they start to figure out what's going on.
We'll be getting used to those words, load management, as the show progresses. But one time we won't have to use it will be with the next game I'm about to talk about. That's the Miami Heat defeated the Atlanta Hawks by a score of 112-97. Jimmy Butler has 21 points. In his debut, rookie Tyler Hero had 29 points. A little hero in South Beach. Goran Dragic had 21 points. Butler missed the first 3 games celebrating the birth of a child. You know what, Bill? Butler definitely has a bad rap because he's gone 3 different places, didn't fit in, Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia. Well, I think he's a good fit in Miami, the new franchise player. And, of course, he can't really make an idiot out of himself if Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have anything to say. But I think this is as good as it gets in terms of a support system. So how do you like the dynamics of Jimmy Butler rejuvenating his career down in Miami?
I think it's a great fit. It's kind of early to tell, but Riley and Spoelstra are proven winners. They know what it takes to win. And from what I'm hearing, the Heat are for real, a lot better than last year. So it's going to be fun to watch it play out. I will tell you that Jimmy Butler grew up right around the corner from where I live in Houston. And, I'm sure he's enjoying playing down in Miami. He was a big part of the Sixers' offense last year. They hated to lose him. But I think he's found a really nice fit for him down the Heat as being a leader of a really good team. And it's going to be fun to watch. They could be sneaky good. Yeah,
I think they could. Sneaky good. I like that. No state income tax in the state of Florida either. So, but I think a change of scenery, and now he can pick where he wants to go. You can't really. The Miami Heat, to me, of all the 4 Southern Florida teams, have been consistent winners for a long, long time, having 3 championships. Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra. They're about the classiest organization in this region for sure. So I hope that Jimmy Butler makes the most of the opportunity. Of course, Dwayne Wade had a celebrated career. I guess he drew from the experience that Dwayne Wade did well here, wanted to restart his career here, and I wish him well, and, of course, congratulating him for the birth of a child as well. Now, let's talk about another game which probably won't get a lot of play, but I'm going to do it because I'm an original 6 guy. The Detroit Pistons are taking on the Toronto Raptors. this is an NHL rival when you think of the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings, the original six, and now you have these two teams meeting in the hard court with a unique rivalry in a different sense, with the Pistons having Dwayne Casey, the former Raptors coach, and Nick Nurse leading the Raptors to a title. So nice little side rivalry between these two northern cities that are separated by about 4 hours apart.
Well, right now the Raptors are playing them and kicking them pretty good. So we kind of know what the Raptors bring to the table, minus Kawhi Leonard. I watched them play in the beginning of the season. I think the one thing that Toronto has to find is a guy that can close games out, because Kawhi did that for him last year. So they've got to find the guy that's going to be a Jimmy Butler or a Kawhi Leonard in the waiting minutes to finish off games. Detroit, a middle-of-the-road team right now, getting better. They got some injury issues, so we'll see. They may make the playoffs, but I'm looking at them as being an 8th or 9th seed in the East.
Yeah, I mean, Blake Griffin out the first 5 games for Detroit doesn't help him from a physical standpoint. But Blake Griffin, throughout his entire career, Bill, has always had injury issues and carries a big $30 million contract. So I think the Pistons, until they can get some salary cap relief, are going to be limited with the hand they have. I know one of the surprise additions that they've had, though, is Derrick Rose, who's done a pretty good job trying to resurrect his career. It's nice when you have a couple guys like Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler that have a chance to resurrect their careers in places where they feel they've got plenty in the tank. So I hope Derrick Rose has a pretty good year up in Detroit. All right, let's go.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I loved the Pistons back in the day when they were the bad boys. It was fun to watch. And they got to get that magic back. But right now they need some players.
Yeah, I covered them during the Bad Boys era. It was an incredible time. And actually, Bill Wickett, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's with the Lightning. Used to be with the Pistons, gave me a plaque with a piece of the floor because I covered him on a daily basis and worked that really hard with the draft and rewarded me for a piece. And I proudly have that hung in my home for sure. So let's go back to the city of Los Angeles. And we talked about load management. We're going to get to it again with 28-year-old Kawhi Leonard sitting out tonight against the Utah Jazz. The Clippers will play their first of 13 back-to-back this season, and Kawhi will sit this one out. So, you know what? If Kawhi Leonard is able to find a way to get the Clippers into the finals, they should have a statue out there. But he's a guy that's won 2 championships for 2 separate franchises. The guy's making a very good mark on himself, and he's only 28 years of age.
All you got to do is keep them healthy for the playoffs, and that's how you do it. Load management. Take care of your body. Like I said, it's a marathon. So, the regular season means a lot. They know they're going to make the playoffs. They know they probably have the best team in the league. They know they really got a lot of depth. So right now it's just how they manage minutes.
You're going to have to speak up, Bill.
Players.
Speak up.
That's how they'll have to manage minutes for players. So, they're in the driver's seat right now, and they know it. So, it's just the rich are going to get richer.
Well,
because the players aren't going to be dog-ass tired trying to make it the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, Doc Rivers should only learn from what Nick Nurse did and do a good job of load management, and I think the Clippers will. They have a big investment in Leonard, and they definitely feel he's the difference for them to go deep into the postseason. The Clippers aren't going to have to worry about the Golden State Warriors for a while, who obviously are in a transitional year and losing a lot of players to injury as well as free agency for sure. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's go on to the NFL, one of our favorite subjects, shall we? We're going to go ahead and talk about the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens first before we go on to what we are planning to talk about. You talk about the Bills' game plan, meaning Belichick against Lamar Jackson. Elaborate with that.
Well, New England always does. They take away what you do best. And Lamar is a great runner. And how they're going to defense the Ravens is they're going to make him sit in the pocket. And I remember going to a coaching clinic at the University of Florida where Urban Meyer got up and spoke, and Gruden got up and spoke, and then Belichick from New England got up and spoke. And the first thing Belichick asked us was, what's the worst play in football? Everybody's standing there scratching their head. And he says when the two defensive ends rush up the field and get past the quarterback. So if you've ever watched New England's defensive ends rush the passer, they always rush the passer, but they never really ever go past him. They're either coming, rushing towards him or stopping and forcing him to stay in the pocket. So that's what they're going to do with Lamar. And the two defensive and the two linebackers in the middle are going to keep an eye on the middle. So the Ravens are going to have to run the football effectively, and they're going to have to go first down, second down, and stay out of third and long situations. And if they get third and long, that's how they're going to defend Lamar as far as making him play quarterback instead of running around. Now, I'm going to go one step better. I really like the Ravens in this game. The Ravens always seem to play the Patriots well. The Ravens have had a lot of dogfights. New England really hasn't played anybody yet. So here we go with a real big game. And I think what's going to happen is New England is going to have a tough time stopping Lamar when he runs the football, when they run the run-pass option. And I have this vision of them running a play and him faking to the running back and then following the running back through the hole. And there's one less guy to tackle. And when that guy breaks clear, so he may rip off a couple of long runs and keep the drive alive. And they're not going to be able to be 100% contain this guy. But the Ravens are a really good football team. Okay, and I think that the Ravens and New England are the class of the AFC. And I'm really looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be much-watched TV.
Well, I think there's a running back that does have to have a big game. It's Mark Ingram. Obviously, we saw what he did in New Orleans, but now, you can't depend on Lamar Jackson as your entire running attack, even though they have to this point. Mark Ingram must come up big in this football game, Bill.
Oh, yeah, of course, Scott. And, he's going to be the feature back. He's going to carry the load. But I would say about every 10 or 11 plays, figuring they get 65 plays in the game,
right,
they're going to fake that ball to Ingram, and Lamar's just going to follow him through the hole.
Right.
Okay, and rip off a long run. Okay, so you got your bell cow in there, Mark Ingram, 100% right. But you got Lamar, going off that action. And that's, what I think they're going to hit him a couple times during the course of that game. And I don't think New England's going to have an answer.
All right, let's talk about this is London week for the Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, I'm going to go a couple different directions with this. First of all, did you ever wish that you could have had an opportunity to play in London for an NFL game?
Well, our team went over there. The Tampa Bay Bandits went over there. We were the first team to play in London. So the NFL a lot of times has copied the best of the USFL. In fact, I'll go on record and tell you right now, the Bucs were the worst team in pro football. When I played for the Tampa Bay Bandits, we outdrew them in attendance. We played Saturday night games. Our owner was the best marketing rep in pro football. We were one of the first professional football team to have a store in the mall and sell merchandise. We sold a lot of merchandise, a lot more than a lot of NFL teams, in addition to drawing them in attendance. So really what the Buccaneers did is after USFL folded, they kind of copied our colors and everything else and got a crash course in marketing the ball club. All right, so, it's just, a very interesting situation down there, okay, as far as, watching the NFL copy things that are good from other leagues.
Right.
And remember we talked on our last show about how the NFL is probably going to have to use Skycam.
Right.
Okay, something that's going to overcome some of these calls, and they got that from the Alliance of American Football.
Right.
So, it's pro football is a work in progress. People come up with great ideas. If the ideas are really, really good, the NFL will copy it and use it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, they're kind of, like I said, prehistoric a lot of times on their approach.
Okay, well, now that we're talking London, let's talk about the Jaguars and the Texans. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I like Jacksonville in that game. Houston's a really, really tough team, but when you lose your premier defensive end, it has a ripple effect through the team. I wonder how good the Texans are going to travel because that's a long flight. All right, and Jacksonville is kind of starting to rally around the quarterback, and I think they're starting to play solid defense. So it's going to be who turns the ball over. But remember, the Texans have